Okay. So welcome everyone. My name is Anu and I'm an intuitive healer, Ayurvedic wellness counselor, yoga teacher, theta healer, spiritual mentor, and I just love working with women to help them cut through the clutter and cut through all these emotions that are weighing them down so they can free their life force energy and focus it on creating the life they want to live. So I would like to start with a short story about my own journey. So may I share a personal story with you? Yeah, okay, thank you. Today, so I do have two children. One is a middle schooler and one is in 5th grade now. And I see that my kids are very confident. And I do notice that they feel comfortable sharing with me, especially when they are in trouble. And also I notice that they are very confident telling me the truth. And I feel very proud because this was not the case earlier. Since childhood, I've noticed that I used to be a very calm person. And then there used to be these moments where I would completely lose my cool, almost burst like a volcano. And when that happened, I used to get so angry that I had to actually throw something to calm down. It's almost like my hand had a life of its own. And I had become really good at choosing what to throw and where to throw. So when I had children, like most of you know that children push all our buttons, and it just becomes harder and harder to stay calm and peaceful. So once I remember my son, he refused to stop playing on the iPad, and I was so upset with him. I remember walking to his room from my room and thinking to myself, I'm not doing my job properly. I'm not a good mother. How can I allow him to watch so much screen? And I had all these shoulds of what a good mother looks like. And it seemed like everything I was doing was wrong. And I got so upset with myself more than him that when I reached his room, I picked up the iPad and I threw it on the bed. Unfortunately, it bounced off the bed and then it stopped working. And now he's crying and then I am crying. My daughter comes in and she starts crying. So it was like a crying party. And I thought like, this has to stop. One thing is the whole trauma of that experience. And then it's followed by the guilt. Waking every morning feeling so heavy, so guilty. Why am I showing up like this? What am I teaching my children? And also noticing that they are somewhere feeling scared of me. If my volume started increasing, I could see that they would go hide in their rooms. This is not the kind of person I wanted to be, but I was not able to find any solutions. I went online, I tried breath work, I did the counting to 10, which I never seem to remember when I'm triggered. I tried parenting classes and even yoga. I started doing regular yoga. Still, I found that I was losing my cool. And that's when I started taking support from other people, healers. I went to so it's like when you ask for something, the universe always shows up for you, right? And that's when the right people came across me. And I had the gumption actually to go ahead and ask for help. And they showed me, they helped me find out what was going on deeper inside me. And I learned so much about my anger. I learned that it's a messenger and it teaches us so much about ourselves. And I'm going to share a lot from my learnings today. So that is the plan. And I'm very happy because today I have shown my children it's better that we can improve. We can become a better version of ourselves. And I've shown them that we can stop the cycle with ourselves, because this is not the first time I saw anger closely. And some of you would resonate with that. So I've seen it in my parents, I've seen it in my extended family. So somewhere it does come down to us through our DNA. And that's what I'll be sharing. So today you'll learn 4 hidden triggers of anger. That's what I'll start with. Then we'll move into a meditation where you will be able to release some of your own pent-up anger. And then in the end, if my work resonates with you, I will share how you could get support in your own work. Okay? So this is the plan for today. With that, I'm going to share my presentation. Okay. So put in the chat, how many of you have a tiny voice telling you, don't lose your temper, don't yell, don't react, but you do it anyway? Put a yes in the chat if you agree. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I see 2 people raise their hands as well. Do you have a question? Salem and Monica, do you have a question or you're just saying yes?
No. I was just saying yes. Sorry.
Oh, okay, great. No problem. So thank you. Absolutely. And how many have tried breath work, counting to 10, parenting techniques without sustainable results? That also you can put in the chat. Yeah, maybe some of you, there is generally a lag in the chat. Okay. I'm sure many of us have been through this. So some research here. A study by Gallup World Poll among 100 countries shows that more women are getting angry today than men, especially after the pandemic. And there's another study to show that, which is even more scary, that women keep it inside. So more men express their anger, whereas women suppress their anger. Research shows that anger and resentment can cause heart issues, stomach problems, liver issues, blood pressure, GI tract issues, circulatory issues, skin disorders, and even rheumatoid arthritis. As per Vienna Steibel, who's the founder of ThetaHealing technique, when we store resentments, regrets, or rejections, they affect our liver, lungs, and kidneys. So, what are the hidden causes of anger? Can anyone just put anything you have found to trigger your anger? What have you experienced? Can you put it in the chat? What do you think triggers your anger? Feeling overwhelmed? Absolutely. Feeling invisible or disrespected? Karen says, yeah. AJ says feeling overwhelmed. Karen says invisible or disrespected. Jocelyn says being misunderstood. Yeah. Salem says not getting enough support from partner. Absolutely, I hear you. GJ says when my plans get disrupted by the kids. Yeah, that can be very frustrating. That happens pretty often, right? Kids are kids. Yeah, absolutely. Yes, I agree with all of you. And let's see some more triggers. Okay. So first one is bodily discomfort. As per Ayurveda, when it is hot outside, it also increases our internal temperature, both physically and mentally. So if you see research, there are more incidents of road rage in summer rather than winter. Similarly, hunger. I remember I had a client who was on a diet, special diet, and she had stopped eating carbs. And she had two young children, and continuously they were pushing her buttons. So in Ayurveda, there are these body constitutions called the Pitta type, which is people who have more fire element in them. And if these people go hungry, it is a very dangerous combination because they get hangry very quickly. And so without realizing, if you're not eating, that can make you more irritable and quick to react. Third is uncomfortable clothes. This is like a very silent but powerful trigger because some of us have very sensitive skin, and even if a dress looks great, if it is scratchy or doesn't suit our skin, it will somewhere silently keep nagging us and makes us irritable. And lack of sleep, definitely. I'm sure many of you would have realized that by now, that sleep is not just sleeping 8 hours or 10 hours by the clock. That's not really good sleep. What we are looking for is a good quality sleep where you wake up feeling fresh, irrespective of how much time you slept. It doesn't matter. So in Ayurveda, we sleep by 10:30 ideally because that's when we get the best quality of sleep in. If you get up in the morning and you need to have coffee to wake up, that means that you need better sleep. Next, Rajasic food, agitation. So as per Ayurveda again, food has an energy to it. And there are different energies to different kinds of food. There's sattvic, rajasic, and tamasic energy. And the rajasic energy is which causes agitation in our mind. And it creates feelings of anger, ambition, lust. All these are due to rajasic food. And some examples of this food are onions, garlic, very spicy chilies, white sugar, eggs, caffeine. And you can see how many of us are actually surviving on caffeine today. What happens here, I can give another example. I used to observe for a long time that when I used to go for a vacation, towards the end of the vacation, I will end up having a fight with a family member. And I used to wonder, why is this a pattern? And then I noticed on a vacation, I was always eating outside food. And generally, if you eat outside, especially Indian food, it does have a lot of these ingredients. So this is, again, a very silent, but very powerful trigger for anger because food makes us. Okay, so the third one is social media. How many of us are on social media, right? Almost all. And when we see all these beautiful pictures of parents, kids, and women, and we start having this voice in our head, which makes us feel like we are not doing enough, we are not being enough, we are not good enough. And the negative self-talk starts. If you remember, even in my own story, I had this very strong feeling that I'm not showing up as a good mother. And when you have a voice telling you that continuously, it makes you very irritable. So I am now very careful about how I talk to myself. I give myself grace, kind words, and I have slowly taken off all the shoulds that I believed in, like Why should I be doing this? Why should I be doing that? I am my own person. I am unique, and no one else sets the rules for me. Okay. Now, the fourth one. Now, this is the biggest reason, like I told you, I tried so many other tools which didn't help me. And that's because of subconscious sabotage. Now, we have a conscious mind, and that's the mind right now, which is listening to me, learning, growing. You make decisions, you do logical thinking, all that with the conscious mind. And then we have a subconscious mind, which knows how to breathe, knows how to sleep. When you learn driving, that driving now is learned by a subconscious mind. So you know how to drive automatically. So what we don't know, some of us don't know, is subconscious mind actually rules 70% of our life. Not 70, sorry, 90% of our life. And most of the times we don't know what beliefs we are carrying in our subconscious. And I'm going to give you an example here, okay? I had a client who has very small children, and she was getting very irritated with them almost all the time. She used to, and she was very frustrated with herself. She was very guilty, but she was not able to stop the cycle. And then when we started doing the work using the theta healing technique, we found out that in her subconscious mind, she had a belief that if her kids don't behave a certain way, they don't look healthy, they don't do well at studies, then she will lose respect in her parents' eyes. She had this belief. It was deep inside her. And because of that, she was always on tenterhooks with her children, making sure they dress well, they eat well, and they don't cry, because if they cry, that means she gets a negative mark. So she was always so stressed out that she was being very reactive. And when we found the bottom belief, and this is in one session, and we released that belief, and we gave her the assurance that she is loved by her parents no matter what, she immediately calmed down. She felt much lighter. And when we met for the next session, she had just, for the first 15 minutes, she was just telling me how her life has changed so much and how relaxed she feels. She's able to go with the flow, and things which were so hard have started becoming effortless. So it's like, it really makes a difference when we dig deep and understand what we are holding subconsciously. And there are people who feel I'm not safe. Some people think anger protects me subconsciously, so they justify having anger. Consciously, they don't want to get angry, but subconsciously, they think it serves them. So we carry not only childhood trauma, but also trauma from our ancestors, and we create our inner world and project it on our outer world. Dr. Vasant Lal is an Ayurvedic Vaidya. So what happens is these beliefs that we form in the subconscious mind, they can be formed either in our own childhood with our own experiences of life, or they can be actually in our DNA from our ancestors. And here I want to share another example. I had a client whose body was going into a panic mode very quickly. And she had struggled with this for almost 60 years of her life. So much so that when she stepped out of home, she used to first check which are the hospitals close to her destination, because she was so scared she'll need to be hospitalized. And her body used to react violently to small amount of stress. And she had a lot of health issues, digestion issues, and there was a time she was on bed rest for like 11 days straight. And then when we started working together, we found out that her grandparents were Russian and they were in the war between Russia and Germany. And they had been continuously under that threat of war. And that fear that I'm not safe had gone deep into their DNA. And through that, it had come into her. So anytime there was as little stress around her, her body thought, I'm not safe. I'll be killed anytime. And it used to completely tense up and just react. And she went into fight or flight mode. So this is just an example of how we carry our ancestors on our back and how our issues and if we have anger, how that might be from them. So when we did work together, after that, she sent me an email and I'll just read the important parts of it. She said that she is able to extend her strongest side and leave fear behind. Her mind feels much stronger. She was exhausted because she was moving her home, but she definitely feels uplifted and a lot of shifting. So this is very powerful work. And I've worked with women from different countries, different cultures, and I have found that somewhere we are all very similar. We have the same dreams, and somewhere we have similar issues. And using the techniques of Ayurveda, yoga, theta healing, and digging deeper, we can find the root of our issues and resolve them. So I would like you to think back to the time of the women before you and what were their struggles. And can you share in the chat? Karen says limited life choices. Yeah. Do you mean like resources, Karen? And feel free to unmute if you like.
My mom was a teenage mom, and she didn't get to go to college or, she had limited life choices because she had children so early, and all the messages around her told her, now plenty of women have children and have a professional life, but she got a lot of messages that she couldn't do anything else.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. I'm sure that was true for many, many of our mothers and grandmothers. Yeah. And you can only imagine how she must have felt if she wanted to work, but she was not allowed to. Yeah. And,
Definitely.
right? Yeah. And somewhere, that frustration that we feel, that's what I'm saying. Like so many women today are angry, especially against the patriarchy. That's because this anger is not just ours. It has come to us from our ancestral women. They have all been through this and they've held that anger so deep in their bodies that it has gone into their cells, into their DNAs. And that's how it comes to us. Giving up a career to be a homemaker, that's what AJ says, which is similar, absolutely similar to what Karen said. True. Yeah, and so many of the women didn't have a choice for other things as well. They had to listen to the men in the family, and the resources were limited, living conditions were difficult. Like they didn't even have good access to healthcare. So yes, the women before us have been through a lot of struggles. The good news is that when we work on ourselves and all these patterns that we have inherited, which is also called ancestral trauma, when we work on ourselves and release the trauma, we benefit 7 generations before us and 7 generations after us. That is the best part. Okay. So as per one of my gurus, Mother Maya, she is a former Vedic monk. The Shakti is once again awakening on earth in its most miraculous and undiluted form. This energy is more than the power to procreate or give birth to children. It endows us with the immutable force to nourish, nurture, and heal. So this is a really good time to release what doesn't serve us. So we can release that life force energy that is stuck and use it to do good in the world. Okay. So before we go into the meditation, I can take a few questions and then we will do the meditation. Does anyone have a question? You can raise your hand. Salem, do you have a question or is it from before? I think it might be from before. Anyone has a question right now? Okay. That's fine. We can have time later as well. So we can now move into our meditation. And for that, I would like you to think of one person you might be angry with, or any incident that you are still angry about. Just think of that. And for the meditation, we are going to sit straight. If you can, have your feet flat on the floor. Have your back straight, have your feet flat on the floor. Take a deep breath in through your nose and release through the mouth with a sigh. Now close your eyes and just bring your awareness to your ears and notice all the sounds you can hear. Now take that awareness to your closed eyes and notice what you can see. Now move your attention to your nose. Notice what you can smell. Take a deep breath in here and notice the smell. Now bring your awareness to your mouth. Notice if you have any taste. And then bring your attention to your feet and notice what they are touching and how that feels. Now think of the person you are angry with or the incident. And notice where you feel that emotion in your body. Keep thinking of that person and feel that emotion. Now give that emotion in your body a color. Ask yourself, how is holding this anger against this person serving me? What benefit do I derive by holding on to the grudge? Wait for the answer. Press the first thing that comes to you. Now ask yourself, am I safe? Now ask yourself, am I ready to release the grudge against this person? If the answer is yes, see the color draining out of your feet into Mother Earth and see it going to the deep center of the earth and burning in the magma. Make sure all the color is drained out of your body. And when it's released, see Mother Earth come up and give you a big hug. Feel that unconditional love and support of Mother Earth. Now thank yourself for doing this practice, for showing up today for yourself and your family. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. So would anyone like to share how was the experience? You can just unmute and share. Could you release the color? Because sometimes people are not ready to release. And it's okay, everything is all right.
I was
Yeah.
I was able to release the color. It was sort of astonishing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why was it astonishing?
Because it was so easy.
And how do you feel right now?
Very good, very peaceful. Yeah, I felt the anger in the right side of my body. And I have a lot of issues in the right side of my body. And the color was red, and it drained down, and the color drained down as you instructed, and then everything just relaxed.
Wow. Wow. Thank you for sharing, Karen. And also bringing up how our emotions affect our health, right? This is, emotions are very powerful, and we keep holding on to them. And I found that when we release our emotions, so many other things we didn't even realize will shift for you. And you'll notice that in the next few days. Sometimes the person you were angry with, they will connect with you on their own. They'll call you or something, or you'll meet them if they're alive. And some people lose weight because they were holding all that stress in their body, in their cells. And once they release it, they start losing weight automatically. So it's fascinating how releasing our all these pent up emotions can actually shift so much in our life. Yeah, so thanks for sharing. GJ, I think you also were going to share, it seemed like. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
I was gonna say that most of the time I get angry with my kid. So there's no grudge out there. It's like immediate trigger which comes in, and then there's a scream, probably a struggle between both of us. So there wasn't anything like a release uh, per se for me, but yeah, I really don't know how to figure this out.
Thanks for sharing, GJ. And I hear you because I have two children, but I found that in the past, one of them used to push my buttons all the time, not both of them, one of them. And when I did the inner work, I actually found out that I had some memories from my childhood. And that was past trauma. And that trauma was being triggered by my child every time. And that's what our family does to us. They trigger all these tender spots in us so that we can see the trauma and then release it. So if it's happening to you often, there is something ready to be released, ready to be healed. Okay? Yeah, you want to say something?
Yeah.
Jocelyn, okay.
When you asked, how does this anger serve you?
Mm.
I got the answer right away. It was very
Oh,
interesting.
oh,
Not sure what
wow.
that is, but I just wanted to share that. I thought I was going to reflect on it and think about it, but the answer came to me very quickly.
Wow.
Mhm.
So powerful, right?
Yeah.
So what did it tell you when it came so quickly? What did you realize?
It made me realize that I feel like I'm better than this person. Like I know more than this person. And it made me feel bad for that person because if I think about it, I'm not. So it was very powerful. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. And
Mhm.
that just tells us also how much we underestimate ourselves.
Mhm.
We know a lot, actually. We just need to tune in
Mhm.
and the answers come. So thanks for sharing. And GJ, were you also going to say something? I thought I saw you unmute.
No, I'm good. Thank you.
You're good? Okay, great. Awesome. So do we have any question here before I go on to sharing how I work with people? I haven't checked the chat, but I think we are good. Okay, no problem. I can continue sharing then. I'm just presenting my slides. Okay. So before I go ahead, I wanted to summarize what we've learned today. The 4 hidden triggers of anger. First is bodily discomfort, whether it's heat, hunger, uncomfortable clothes, and low sleep. And then the second was the rajasic food, which triggers us without our knowledge and generates those agitative feelings in us. Third was social media and feeling low self-esteem, low self-love, having an inner critic, which doesn't let us rest. That is number 3. And number 4 is the biggest one, which is subconscious sabotage. And this is really huge. Like consciously, you want to do something, you have the best intentions, you know how to do it, but that only runs 10% of your life. Subconsciously, what you believe is exactly what we create outside us. That reminds me, there was a mother who came to me. Her son was 40 years old, and she was very, very disappointed in him. He was not married. He did not have a proper job. He was very intelligent, but he kept switching careers, and he was like a freelancer. So he had actually moved in to live with her now in her home. And the biggest thing was, at night, he used to go to the bar and he used to come home drunk around 2 p.m. And she was so frustrated, disappointed. She felt her life had no meaning. And so many mothers attach their own success to the child's success. And so she was very disappointed in herself. And she had lost sleep. She looked like she hadn't slept for years. Her health was failing her, and she was a very bright lady. She was about 65 years old, very bright woman, but she was at home and just struggling, literally getting by one day to another. And she saw one of my talks and she said, you know, I saw you and I remembered that I used to be like you, and I feel like I have lost myself. And I think I need your help. And when we started working together, as we worked deeper, we dug deeper. One day she said, all the men in my family have let me down. I'm going to let that sit. All the men in my family have let me down. My son, my husband, my brother, my father. So this was a subconscious belief that was formed somewhere in her childhood, or it could have been ancestral. And because of that belief, today also she was living the same reality. It got created around her. We are very powerful souls. So anyway, when she started working with me, she understood that her life is not connected with the son's success. And she went ahead, got a job. She started working. She started flourishing. And then one day she wrote to me that she has started getting compliments from people on how pretty and radiant she looked. And she said, I have let go of my son right now. I'm giving him his space. And she found her old self back. Okay, so Q&A, we'll do that later. Now we can talk about working with me. So when I worked with my children on myself, on my own anger, and I saw the effect on my children, I noticed that my children felt really free talking with me. They were not scared, and they started telling me the truth. And I started enjoying a level of connectedness with them, which feels very, very light, and it feels like a relief. I know that whenever they are in trouble, they will come and talk to me. And I want that all my life, that they should be able to communicate with me. So that's the first thing that happened. And the second thing that happened was other moms came and asked me, what am I doing? Because they noticed that there was some peace around me which they wanted. And that's how I started working with other women, and mostly mothers. This is a review by a client's husband that he sees his wife has integrated spiritual teachings into her daily life to become calm and kind, particularly in her interactions with their daughter. She has also become less anxious about her past, including revisiting places and reconnecting with family members. And this is a woman who had cut off from her whole family. Okay. So I work with women one-on-one, and the intention is always to move the woman from this woman on the left to this woman on the right. And that happens through counseling, support, theta healing. I use a bag of tools and I empower moms to identify what is really the cause of their issues. Okay? So I help them transform anger into enlightenment so they can enjoy more fulfilling relationships. I strongly believe that life is too short to suffer. And I also believe that there is this saying, right? That a step in time, it saves 9, something like that. Like really, the earlier we work on ourselves, the more we can enjoy life. A stitch in time saves 9. Yeah, that's the phrase. When the woman thrives, the whole family thrives, and we deserve it. Now the time is gone that we can be martyrs. Now is the time for us to stand up in our power and show our children that we are powerful and we know how to react and respond to situations because they are learning from us. So when people work with me, the client starts releasing old hurts, feel lighter and joyful. It's a really good example for children. Very, very good example, actually. And our health improves at a cellular level because we release the trauma from ourselves. Relationships improve. We start radiating a beauty and a sense of peace. And this work benefits our past 7 generations and future 7 generations. So it's very powerful work that we do. So just a question for you, like what future do you see for yourself if things stay the same? That's something for you to think about. So if anyone wants to work with me, I start by offering a 30-minute complimentary, no obligation clarity call to determine if we are a good fit to work together. Because we might not be a good fit. And in that case, I recommend you to other people. The call is basically to understand what is your challenge right now, what is your vision for yourself, and then I give you my professional opinion on what your roadmap looks like to reach your goals. And there is no advice in this call. It's mainly looking at the strategy. And I share how it looks like if we work together, what is the process and everything. If we don't work together, there are no hard feelings. We will still be friends. There is no expectation. Yeah. So I'm very careful about how many clients I take because this is a lot of deep work that we do. And we have to, so it needs a lot of energy from my side. So I take limited clients at a time. And if you are interested to explore, if we are a good fit, I can share the link right now and you can book a call with me. Let me see. I have a few spots open today and next week. So that is the link. If I can do it, anyone can do it. I know that. So I have time now if you have any questions and if you want to share your takeaway in the chat. What's your takeaway from today?